Hey everyone, I'm Sebastian Purcell from The Art of the Bubble. This is the second of the series that we're doing in the GameFi series, how to invest in GameFi, whether or not it's possible to invest in GameFi, how to make money on it, and in this one in particular, how to avoid getting stuck in a Ponzi scheme. A lot of these games promise great rewards, and they do have some really great returns from early investors, but that can come at the cost of later entrants. And so there's a way to look through these games to figure out whether or not they are actually Ponzi's or something like that. That's the point that we want to look at here. And there's a key feature that you can learn to identify: external sources. If you can find external sources of funding, you probably don't have a Ponzi scheme. All right. And let's just take a step back as to why you might be interested in GameFi, like NFT games, anyway, as a source of investing, which is sort of an atypical way to approach things even in the crypto world. So the investment context for this is that we at the Art of the Bubble, are a community that trades bubbly items, right? Like cryptocurrencies, cannabis stocks, and the like. And we have a method for kind of riding the bubbles up and getting out just after you go a little bit over the top, and then stashing our money in some other positions that give us high yielding returns until we can find the next good bubble. That's what we do. Right now, what we've been doing is we've been following two different strategies. One of them is just selling out our cryptos, putting them on Anchor Earn for 19.5%, and another one is to take that and to put those coins on the Spectrum protocol, doing what's called synth farming. I have a whole yield farming guide that's devoted to kind of taking you through these steps. Synth farming might sound a little strange. That's where you buy synthetic versions of stocks on a cryptocurrency protocol, and then you provide liquidity so that other people can buy and sell those things. It gets a little involved. You put both those, you take two coins, you put them on an exchange, and every time somebody buys one coin for the other, you get a cut of that transaction. And that's how you can get somewhere between 20% and 40% a year. It's a pretty cool idea, and it makes money because people are buying and selling those coins, not because you're betting on the coins so much themselves. It does get a little more involved because there's something of a bet on the coins, but that is how that strategy works. Again, there's a whole guide on it, linked down below in the description to the Art of the Bubble. But that's where we are as a community, and the question has been, can we do a little bit better than 40% at the top end of that? We've looked at two different kinds of strategies. One of them is this Ohm fork strategy, right? So the Ohm forks that's the symbol for the Olympus DAO, or the Olympus project. It's not really a DAO. What they found a way to buy their own coins back and reinvest them in a way. It's met with a lot of problems, right? Something similar looks to be happening with masternode services. So if you go out there and you'll find people really saying like, oh, invest with us for masternodes. Those returns are going to go down over time for a variety of reasons. And I wanted to look at something more sensible. And it was actually some community members that told me like, hey, look, GameFi stuff works, or it can work. It'll be uncorrelated and it offers the promise of high yield, right? So what we have is GameFi to the rescue. This might legitimately give us better than 40% over the next 12 months. I mean, it could give us 500% in 6 months, according to some calculations. We'll just have to see. I don't know what the specifics are going to be, but even if it's 100% over the next 12 months, 100 is better than 40. So this is the direction that we're going, and that's why I, as an investor, became interested in this sort of idea. Now, the appearance here is that games like Web3 is so amazing that rather than paying to play a game, you're going to get paid to play a game, right? That's the appearance. And so this is taken from the slide deck of the Mavia game, and I'll kind of go into this in some detail. I like them because they're so explicit and so clear about their model that you can see what's going on. They propose their game as a mixing of two things. Maybe you've played Clash of Clans or a similar type game on your phone at some point. I did. So they kind of do that. That's the basic game that it is. But they mix that with all of the Web3 features that is Axie Infinity. Axie Infinity is the pioneer in this space. They're basically like Pokemon, right? They're kind of like Pokemon. They're a Pokemon knockoff in the crypto space. They're not exactly like Pokemon, but they're close. And they pioneered the play-to-earn model. So the idea was take all of the cool things of Axie Infinity about play-to-earn and make a Clash of Clans game about that. People will love it. It'll be successful for everyone. At least that's the appearance. Now, if you go to the core slide in their slide deck, you'll run into this. And by the way, at the bottom there, I have, there it is. There's the link. We'll include the link in the descriptions below too if you want to click through the Heroes of Mavia slide deck. What I want to explain with you all is kind of how it actually works. And to do that, I'm going to pull out my little laser pointer here. Okay, so let's say that you go out from on an exchange and you buy some of their Mavia tokens, and you put those then into your wallet. That's the little fox symbol there is for your MetaMask wallet, and then you go to some marketplace like OpenSea and you buy some stuff. Or maybe you go to their marketplace and you buy some stuff, and that gives you the things that you need to play the game, like a base and a hero and statues and things like that that play the game. Okay, so you go, you play the game, you're successful, and they pay you in Ruby tokens. Notice that Ruby tokens is how you get paid. Well, you can do one of two things with them. The first one of them is just return it back into the space. Like all the blue lines are the reinvesting stuff. So now you have a better base, better hero, etc., and you'll be more competitive. And one reason you might want to do that is now if you really power up your NFTs or whatever, you can go and sell those into the marketplace, and that has no fee. And so they want you to be able to do that. You cash out, you're done with the game, you play it a lot, you sell it to the marketplace, you made some money. That's fine. Somebody else buys your upgraded stuff because that's where they want to start the game. They move it back in. So this is fine. This incentivizes staying in the game. On the other hand, let's say you make some money, you get some Ruby tokens, you say, I just want to make some money right now. I'm going to withdraw that out of the marketplace, and you get a 15% penalty for doing that. After you do that, you now have 85% of your original tokens. You go and you take them and you sell your Ruby tokens on an exchange, and you make some money. Okay. Other people, the other person who buys that from you, can then take their Ruby tokens, move it to their wallet, and deposit that into the Mavia game and get a 10% bonus, right, for doing that. Again, they want to incentivize depositing and disincentivize taking stuff out just for earnings. Then they take that stuff, they spend it on their heroes and statues and whatever else playing the game, and the cycle repeats. So what you have here is all the red lines disincentivize selling stuff out of the system, and all the blue lines incentivize reinvesting within the system. That is at least how the tokenomics of the Mavia game work. The reality of it is that the money still has to come from somewhere. Just incentivizing hodling, as it's called, just holding onto the coins or reinvesting the coins in the system isn't enough. After all, losing 15% is better than losing 100%. So if everyone runs to the exits because they now believe that Heroes of Mavia is a Ponzi scheme, and I don't think it is, but if that's what they did, losing 15% would be better than losing 100%. So that kind of tokenomic structure isn't enough on its own. What you need is external funding. You need a source of funds external to more people coming in, more people depositing money coming in. They have to have funding from some other source. Now, Web3 games, as GameFi suggests, could pull on DeFi, decentralized finance, using yield farming and that sort of stuff. And some of them do, but this tends to run into problems with the SEC. They're probably going to be called securities because they're not going to pass the Howey test at that point. And that means that if the game is based in the United States at all, it's not going to work. All right. So Heroes of Mavia's solution, and I think this will be the solution going forward, is to do a lot of Web 2 stuff. This is just Web 2 stuff. This let's be honest here. All right, you can buy skins, which you can do in so many freemium games and whatever else, Activision, Blizzard, etc. That's just paying money into the system to play. You can buy speed ups. Oh, come on. That is just freemium gaming. They said that they're going to allow people to have advertisements on their land. Well, advertisements is the model that Facebook pioneered. That is as classic Web 2 as it gets. They're also going to allow gambling, which, okay, great. And by gambling, what I mean is people wagering the Ruby coins on the outcome of a battle with another player. Fine, but that's not even Web 2. That's like not even web, that's just Vegas, right? And finally, a lot of this stuff like reinvesting your money into the game to make it better, to grow stuff, purchasing gold and oil, that is just paying to play the game. Very Web 2, Web 1, whatever, paying to play a game. That's what that is. These are all legitimate external sources of funding. They solve the Ponzi scheme problem. The thing is, they're not like revolutionary, right? And at this point, I thought it would be worth our while to add in like an extra slide here. Obviously, I'm recording this later than the initial set, but there's this whole question about Web 3 stuff and what it really does over Web 2 stuff, and we can kind of clarify that here. So Facebook, now Meta, and Google pioneered the web as we know it right now, right? And the way that works is that they take the profits from your participation in their labor, and they don't really compensate you, at the very least, for the data that you contribute to the network, right? And we can talk about the equity or the fairness of that, but that's how the model works. They do have to make money after all, and I remember for quite a while the concern with Facebook was that it'll never make any money. They found a way to make quite a bit of money, and it's a sustainable model. What you look at, and what you saw on the last slide there, is that Heroes of Mafia doesn't really do anything different. It uses the same techniques as Web 2 stuff, or even earlier stuff. Right? It is a little more egalitarian, though. Right? Web 3, what it does is it takes like 70% of the profits and gives you like 30% with some governance capabilities, right? So it is better, but it's a long way from the revolution. So in conclusion, games like Heroes of Mafia aren't Ponzi schemes as far as I can tell, because they do have external sources of funding. Those sources of funding are Web 2 based sources of funding. Right? They can pay you because they let you own a little bit of your own exploitation. It's not Cryptopia, but it is sustainable. And if you're going through and analyzing any of these games and you want to know whether or not it's a Ponzi scheme, now you know what to look for. Like, where is that external source of funding coming from? How much of, and maybe the next question is, how much of a proportion is that? Because if it's only like 5%, then that's not a big enough proportion to stop the run once people move to the exits, right? So it has to be a big enough proportion of the game, and a lot of this in Heroes of Mafia is going to turn out to be people just playing the game, paying a certain amount of money to play the game and be competitive in it. Clash of Clans or Game of War, I played that one for a little bit. People who stayed in that tended to pay a certain amount every month, more or less, to just be competitive at the game in the level that they were at. And I think that that's how this is going to be. It's going to turn into, for a lot of people, a subscription-based model of paying a game. It may be a lot less than what they used to get playing other games, but it's still that kind of model, right? Maybe some people will really earn some money too. At the very least, you now know how to avoid Ponzi schemes. In the next one of these videos, we're going to talk about how you actually make money in it and why certain approaches work better than other approaches. That's it for right now, though. We've gone through the main portion of this. Thanks, everyone, and I'll see you in the next video.